Carol is asking to be let in, please.
Okay. Sorry, Carol, just 1 second. I think we're live. Okay, so we are live on Facebook. So welcome everybody to today's episode or whatnot of Beyond the Cloud. It is August the 7th. So we are more than halfway through summer, if you can believe it. I don't know where the time has gone. Yeah, so question of the day. My daughter, I couldn't figure out what to ask. And of course, Stacy got me thinking about it on our call earlier. So I asked my daughter, so she picked. So what she thought a good question was, is so we'll go around, introduce ourselves. And then the question to answer is, where is the first place you plan on vacationing once the pandemic is over and it is safe to do so? So, Tanya Hiltz, Cloud Bookkeeping Services, Cloud Business Services. I have to get used to that. Cloud Business Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. You know what? I really don't know. I know I usually like to cruise. I'm staying away from cruises for a little while. And I like to conference. Let's say Hawaii, because I love Hawaii. I've been there twice and I haven't been back there in a long time. And just in case this were to resurface and we have to stuck and get quarantined somewhere, Hawaii is a great place to do it. And their numbers are very low. So I will go with Hawaii. So let's just go around clockwise. So David, you are next.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm David Pankwich. I'm a CPA CA just north of Toronto here in Ontario, Canada. Where would I vacation? My wife is encouraging me, when it works, to take her to Italy. She's never been. That's where her ancestors are from. She has family still there. She loves seeing pictures of the place. So that's on my to-do list, to take her to Italy, some key places. So that's our future.
Awesome. And that's a great, like my daughter's been there and I've seen pictures and that's on a to-do list. So yes, I was thinking tropical. I wasn't thinking other places. So very, very nice. Awesome. Okay. We have Lynn, you're next.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I kind of missed the question. So thanks, David, for repeating it. Lynn James, Datalink Office Solutions in Abbotsford, British Columbia. Where would I holiday? Well, I would absolutely love to go back to Hawaii. I think it's just amazing and I felt so wonderful when we were there. But I would also like to go back to Germany. I was there as a child, a young preteen. And I would love, love, love to do a river cruise. Don't know whether that'll be in the cards yet. So we'll see.
Eventually.
Not getting on a boat right now.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, everybody knows I'm all about the cruises, but yeah, not for a while.
No.
All right.
We get too free.
So next we have Tanya Fernolik. So Tanya, you just joined us. So I don't know if you've ever been on Beyond the Cloud Live. So welcome.
Thank you.
So what we're doing is we're going around clockwise and you just happen to pop up right below Lynn. And so you just get to introduce yourself. And if you want to say a bit like about where you're from, whatever, you can talk about, again, either of your careers. Because I know you have two. So either one or both of them, whichever. So we always ask a question. And the question today is, when this is all over and it's safe to travel and vacation again, where is the place that you would like to go?
So, hi everybody. My name is Tanya Fernolik. I am the bookkeeper for Legal Eagle Bookkeeping Services or Admin Services. I'm also working at Intuit full time, and the first place I'm going is hopefully Croatia for about a month.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's your first time there, isn't it?
No, it's been 40 years since I've been back.
Wow.
Yeah, and we still have extended family there, so it'll be fun.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard it's gorgeous. Again, my daughter's been there. She is much more well-traveled than I am.
It's funny how our kids are able to do that, eh?
Well, it's thanks to the high school Europe trips, right? It's amazing the experience she's gotten. So yeah. So,
hopefully that one's happening first. If not, then it might be New Zealand for my cousin's wedding.
Oh, very nice.
Again, New Zealand is another place.
Yeah.
That's another good place.
Both very pricey, expensive vacations. So we'll see.
And
Yes,
a long travel time.
Yes. That's why I'm
Yes.
leaning a little bit more towards Croatia, just because it's 8 hours instead of 24.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, but then you go to New Zealand, you might not want to come back though, right?
I don't know if I'm going to come back if I go anywhere. Beauty of being able to work remote, guys.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Carol, you're next.
I'm Carol Kostachuk with Carol On Call Office Assistants here in almost sunny Maple Ridge, BC. If I can travel again, it will depend on the time of year. If it's January, February, I'm going to Mexico. And if it's the summertime, I would like to go to London again. I have a girlfriend who's been a couple times. I've been once, and we keep talking about it. She's my friend that we go to the theater in the country and see all our great plays all the time, which in 2 weeks we get to go to their first live back in new COVID settings for live theater.
Yeah.
We've been doing it online, so it's been fun, but not the same as live dinner in a theater.
Right.
But yeah, so we keep talking because they do a London tour every year.
And I certainly hope you mean London, England, not London, Ontario.
London, England, yes.
Okay, good.
No, but they do a trip every year. And the original time I went was when my son was in the Christian school, and they did a theater tour. So that was my first trip there. And yeah, so I definitely want to go back again because it's kind of well organized, do a gazillion different things and see everything, and usually includes one other country.
Nice.
So you can go for the 1 week or you can go for the 2 weeks. So if I go again, I'm going for the 2 weeks, full out.
Yeah,
All of it.
you're already over there. It costs you the same to get there, and so you're already over there. So it's just a little bit extra cost of places.
Yeah,
to stay
we won't
and-
go into the reasons why I didn't go to Ireland last time, but that's okay. Anybody that knows me knows why.
Oh yes, I know why. It took me a minute, but yes, I know why.
Anyway,
You're
I'll go
allergic to the
again.
green beer, right?
What's that?
You're allergic to the green beer.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Meredith, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Meredith Bissiker with Pacific Rock Accounting on Vancouver Island. And my husband and I were just talking about travel last week. Realistically, the first trip we'll be going on is to Disneyland because our little one hasn't gone and we've been promising, and we were supposed to go in February. So anyway, that's realistic. Where I would prefer to go is, it's always been a dream of mine to live in southern France for 3 months out of every year. And my husband we actually started talking about this. We have 8 years before my youngest turns 18. So we started talking about it. So France, I would love for my husband and I to just take off to Hawaii for a little bit. And I always love California. So I'm really looking forward to being able to head back down to San Jose and stay down in Saratoga by myself.
The next San Jose conference, right?
Oh yeah. And go down for a week and just chill. Chill.
I'm definitely going to that.
Oh, I
That's
cannot wait.
Travel.
Hey, yeah, I like Airbnb. Saratoga's great. Love driving around there. So if you guys want to join me in Saratoga, there you go. And it's only like 20 minutes away from the conference center.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
All right. Thanks.
All right, Stacy, you're next.
I'm Stacy Stanley Young. I am from Stanley Young Business Strategies, right in the heart of Canada. And I'm looking out the window. It is sunny today, which it's sunny every day because I live in the prairies, and the prairies are good for that. When I start traveling again, I was very fortunate as a child. My parents loved to travel, and they didn't love leaving me home with family. So they took me along, and so I got to go see all sorts of places that I would love to take my husband to. So I'd love to go to Europe. I heard about Italy. David, you mentioned Italy, and I'm like, oh, I loved Italy. And Carol, you said London. I'm like, oh, I took a group of Girl Guides to London a few years ago. That was amazing. And Hawaii, I've been there, but I didn't take my husband. I think he'd enjoy that because there's a lot of really neat historical sites there. So if I want to go to all of those places. I love Disney World. I hate the crowds, but I love Disney World. So, whatever. But I was there last year. And I've always wanted to go to Africa. And I have a friend of mine who's from South Africa, and she just tells me how beautiful it is. And that's where I'd like to go. And that would be someplace new for both me and my husband. So.
Nice. I love the South African accent.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
I absolutely love it. And
If
I've got friends from there as well too.
If you accidentally mistaken it for an English accent and mention that, you get into a lot of trouble. So I recommend to stay away from that.
Yes. All right.
Would you go on a safari when you go there?
I would make sure that I'd research the safari companies to make sure that they were an ethical or a good one. I don't want to go, I'm not a game hunter or anything like that, but I would love to see the animals in their wild-ish environment. Yeah.
All right.
Just be careful of the monkeys. They could jump on your head.
Right? Forget the lions. The monkeys are the trouble.
Yeah, it happened to my girlfriend. She, in the rock of Gibraltar or wherever. And they were getting out of the thing, and the guy said, take your hat off. She's like, I'm not taking my hat off. He goes, well, if you don't take your hat off, a monkey might jump on your head and grab it. And she just kind of looked at him, and 2 seconds out of the Jeep, and boom, right on the back of her, like his, and everybody's backing up, including the guide. And she's like, he goes, don't move, lady, don't look, don't move. and it was like her sisters are laughing their face off at her. She is just about having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then it took her hat and it left.
With the hat?
With the hat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But after it sat on her shoulders and knit picked in her hair, and yeah. Ooh. Of course, her sisters all got good pictures.
All right. Jessica, you're next. And Amy, we're still introducing people, so don't worry. I saw you come in.
I'm Jessica Fox, Bandera Fox on Facebook from sunny Florida. I cannot really tell because we had just shuttered for a hurricane, so my office feels like a cave right now. I went right before this whole COVID thing started. My husband and I were discussing where are we going next? And we were bouncing around ideas, and we were planning a road trip. Originally, we were thinking to go to the other side of the US, like Arizona, Nevada area. And then we decided that we wanted to go up the eastern seaboard to New York, upstate New York, and go to Niagara Falls. We made it as far as starting to look at places to stay and things to do, and then things happened. I mean, technically we could still go, but right now, if we were to visit those states, we will have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. So we're waiting. So that's probably what we will do when things get back to normal, whenever that is probably take a road trip.
Well, you know what? Right now, you're safer right where you are anyway. Yeah. But
my state is a runaway train for cases, and my county where I live in, the stats are scary. It's exceeding the state in terms of number of new cases, the percentage of new cases and deaths. So right now, my county does not feel safe.
So you don't leave much anyway, right? Like these days, for sure.
I get everything delivered, and my outing is to do a socially distanced curbside pickup of my fancy coffee. I order online on the app, and I just text them when I am there, and they bring it to my car.
Yeah, well, but it's funny when you say about the road trip, because I mean, there was even something that went around Facebook the other day about even how many people like in Canada have seen Canada. We have seen more of the States than we've seen Canada. And I think in the States, though, you guys love to road trip. So I think you find more Americans will road trip and see more of their country. In Canada, maybe it's just we want to get away from the snow or the humidity, but we want to go everywhere else.
I like
don't
to
wanna
travel
drive across.
internationally too, but with a family, it gets expensive. I love
Yeah.
cruises, but you won't see me in a cruise anytime soon.
Nope.
I was having trouble convincing my husband to go on one he's never been when this happened. So now he's not going to be on board with that idea anytime soon.
Nope. Nope, for sure. All right, Kathy.
Hey everybody, I'm Kathy Badger with CSB Creative Business Solutions in Edmonton, Alberta. And I, like others, am thinking about the time of year. So every winter we go to Mexico for 2 or 3 weeks. So if we get to travel by January, February, that's where we'll be. And then if it's summer, there's the question of, do you visit the kid who lives in BC, or do you go have some fun someplace else? And I think the kid will probably win out.
Well, if you're in BC, you got to get close to me.
I'll be halfway there.
I'll meet you halfway.
Sounds good.
I would say I think we got more BC folks on this call than anywhere else. We're definitely overrun. Yeah, there's what? Lynn,
Representing.
Meredith,
West Coast.
And I'm like almost as west as you can go.
You are the westest.
Which explains why I haven't seen the rest of Canada except Calgary and maybe Toronto because it's too far.
Yeah.
Wow,
All right.
Bianca.
Well,
Hi.
Sorry, I'm terrible at wolf whistles, but
Oh, I just had a virtual lunch meeting, so I have lipstick on.
oh,
Other than that, there's nothing different. I look like this. It's just lipstick.
Your hair though, your hair is
Oh,
different.
I got a
hair is
haircut,
Yeah,
but I
that's
didn't.
great.
I just brushed it out of the shower. I'm pretty lucky. My hair is very easy.
nice.
nice. Well, the
All right,
lipstick
so-
is doing it for you.
Sorry, still doing introductions. Amy, you're next, and then Bianca, and then we're finally caught up unless anybody else joins.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm Lewis Bookkeeping. I live in Aurelia, Ontario. This is my first time on here, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I was like cruising Facebook and it said that you were on. I'm like, oh, I'll jump on today. And then here we are. I have a lot of work to do and I'm really procrastinating. So I think we're talking about where we want to go, like
Yes.
places.
Yes.
I am a huge traveler at heart, but I'm also a homebody. So I've been lots of places, and I was planning a trip to see my dad, who lives in Nova Scotia. He lives in Yarmouth. So, and I'm still kind of planning it. So he turned 60 in January, and I just bought him, he is obsessed with Coca-Cola. So I bought this Coca-Cola trailer that is pretty much useless other than the fact that it's a Coca-Cola teardrop trailer. So I bought it for him. My husband and I are refinishing it over the next couple months. And then I'm going to put a trailer hitch on my car and I'm going to go out there for the end of October this year. It's about a 17.5-hour drive for me to get from my house to his house.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just going to drive my little VW and go to the East Coast. It's the only place in Canada I haven't been actually. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna feel comfortable traveling outside of Canada for a very long time. I was a big traveler before, but I'm very I have really bad anxiety. So I think my safe spot is here. And I have lots of friends around the world, so that's how I will travel for the time being. So yeah, anyways, that's me.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about Coca-Cola for you. So there's two of you on the call. Then my uncle works for Coke.
Really?
He has for years. So there's now two of you on the call that as soon as I can, talk to him and just say, hey, if you find something neat, in your Coke archives, that he works in the Calgary plant. He's been there for I don't know, 50 years or something. So
I was, we bought this house last year, and there's a house about 5 blocks away that I drive past every day that has this teardrop shaped Coca-Cola trailer that has just been sitting there literally hasn't moved. So I finally got the guts about 3 weeks ago to just go knock on the door and be like, hey, what are you doing with that trailer? And he's like, well, I'm thinking of selling it. And I'm like, perfect, let's make a deal. So I bought the trailer. I couldn't believe it happened. So yeah, anyways, I haven't told my dad. He's gonna be really excited. So
well, you never know unless you ask. My grandparents or there was a house my grandmother loved, and she went out and she knocked on the door and she hounded this poor lady for 3 years, and she finally got the house.
Yeah.
It was just the right time to sell. If you don't ask,
the answer will always be no.
And that was my
Exactly.
mother's mandate all my life. She says, if you don't ask, the answer will always be no.
Right. You know, and what's the worst that could happen? They say no. I'm like, all right, cool.
Exactly. So we have to wait for Bianca because she left. So we have to wait for her. So while we're waiting for her to come back, and then we'll let her introduce herself. We actually were talking about before, and by the way, just very quickly, so Kathy and David and Stacy and Carol on the call that we were on earlier, I think that we were all on the same call, the one that we talked about, Otter. Amy is the one I have been raving about, and I know you spoke to Sherry the other day too, and I've been raving. We talked about Otter on our bootcamp call at noon.
It's been a game changer for me.
That.
Yeah.
What is the Otter?
So it's the transcription service. So it's just a website, Otter.ai. Now you can use it for different things. One of the things you could do is you can import Zoom videos and it will like transcribe it minute by minute.
Love.
What I've been doing it for, like I talk a mile a minute because I think a mile a minute. And if you ask me to slow down, you're asking my brain to slow down, like a lot of us. And my assistant is awesome, but she has no accounting knowledge. So when she starts saying certain things, she's like, what? Like totally like a deer in headlights. So I've started to be like, hey, she can't keep up with me. She's not getting all of the things. And so it's just like a website. There's actually an app for it. You can put it on your phone and you can just hit record. And I could record, just be like talking about something and wanting to like get it down and just hit record and it will like transcribe it for me with the voice note. And then it pulls out like keywords, like summary words and stuff.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you because my website is pretty much done. By the way, Tanya, loving 17 Hats, had my first lead come through it yesterday. Yay.
Nice.
But I was also thinking, like I have some videos on it. And I realized in one of the videos, like my lipstick was coming out the side of my face. So I had to pull it out. I had to pull the audio out in iMovie. And I was listening to the audio and I'm like, audio is so much better, and I'm already planning on reading my blog so people can listen to the audio rather than reading, like for people who prefer the audio. And I was wondering, long story short, Amy, like what could I use? So if it has the audio as well as the transcription, there's my blog post every week.
If I can share for just a second, I'll show you quickly what it looks like.
Yeah, go ahead. Cool. Go ahead.
That's exactly how I use it. I record YouTube videos, then I use Otter.ai to get the transcript, and my VA formats it into a blog post.
Beautiful. Yeah. I need your VA as well.
So this is just the main page.
60-minute meeting with Tanya. That must have been us from Sunday.
So this is just like the home. It's really basic right now, but like you can set up folders. But like one thing I've been using it for is like I had all of these ideas, like how did I start my business? So I just started talking about it. So it's like transcribing my words, and then it also pulls out like keywords.
The tags.
Yeah.
So this is so good for SEO.
So I do it with like, if I want to get stuff to my assistant, if I'm doing training, I'm using someone like an online business manager to help me with ClickUp. So sometimes like, I'm like, this is the things that I want to do. And I'm just talk it out. So I don't have to try to like write it down, slow my brain down or anything. I just word vomit pretty much. And
I'm getting it right now. Right now, I'm getting it.
It's really helpful. And I don't know what you can see, but you can literally either hit record or import. So if you hit import, you bring in videos. If I hit record, it will just start recording what I'm talking about right now. And like any of you could start talking and it will pick up speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 5, things like that.
I can't even stand it.
Voices are different.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, there she goes.
So that's how it works, and it's really, really helpful. I'm finding it that it's like probably one of the best things I've ever used. So and it also syncs with your calendar. So right now I've got working hours going on for the whole day. I block off Fridays so I don't get client meetings. And so it synced with my calendar what I was maybe doing at that time. Like I was talking with Tanya last week, and so I just hit record on the meeting that we were in. So it kind of like, and I'm pretty sure it goes to your Google Calendar as well. Like you can click the link in there.
This is amazing.
It's
Thank
super
you
helpful.
so much.
It's free. The first 40 minutes of it is free. I started using it at the end of July and I didn't pay for it in July. I haven't had to pay for it yet, but I probably, as soon as it tells me I need to upgrade, I'm gonna.
Well, it's 600 minutes. So it's 600 minutes a month, 40 minutes max for one recording. So
That's great.
There's also a phone app. So what we were talking about on the call earlier is when you're driving, instead of listening to an audiobook, when you're driving, turn the app on and blog while you're driving. Talk to your phone. It'll transcribe. It pulls out the hashtags. You get to where you're going and you've already got a blog.
Might not want to do that when I'm driving, or at least I'll have to pull out some of the expletives.
Well, it's still helpful. Like, you know, for me, I talk to myself when I drive all the time. Like, I very rarely listen to the radio when I'm driving, because most of the time it's when I'm thinking. I've got a half an hour and I've got certain things in my head. So that's exactly, I used to send my assistant like 18-minute long voice notes, and she's like, okay, like, you know, but at least with this, you could totally record yourself for 18 minutes straight and it would pull all of your words out.
This is
and
brilliant.
The best part is that you can actually go back and listen to yourself. Like, you can hit play and you can hear your own recording. So if it didn't catch your words the way you wanted it to or something, you can go back and listen.
Yeah, you can pull it out, you can edit, you can. So we've been using it. So Amy and I spoke for, I don't know, maybe 2 hours or so on Sunday, about 10 minutes on this. I ended up down a wormhole with it by Monday. I had already paid for a paid version. We've got the whole team on it. I've already used it to dictate some emails, and I just copy and paste it on my long emails. There was something that we were nominated for that I had to fill in the application form and whatnot. I did that because, again, when I'm speaking, like Amy, I talk fast and my hands can't keep up with it. So it's basically any time saver. Leanne has already used it a bunch of times.
Also, it's a great way to write copy, because they say, especially if we want to write it in our own voice, write as if we're speaking. So it's probably the most natural way to create blog posts, etc., etc. So, I love you guys. You always have the best ideas.
So what we're doing is so we're also creating, as we're like, for our own stuff, and then as well for Bootcamp and whatever else, we're creating steps and processes. So now I can just read them out, talk about them as I'm doing it. Okay, step 1, I'm doing this. Step 2, I'm doing that. And then boom, copy and paste. I don't have to do it and type it and do it and type it. I can just do it and talk it.
Hey, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh my
If
gosh.
you're recording a training video for a client or for a staff member, you do the recording and you're talking out loud. So it's the recording and the typing, and then you just attach that, you know, in the same document as the recording link.
The other thing you could do with that is if you used a Loom or something and recorded the video. Is that what you were saying? Because instead of using just Otter, you could use it in Loom and then import it into Otter. So you get the video and the transcription.
You import the video and it can pull out the audio.
Yeah, you need the paid version to import the Loom video in. Zoom is with the free one. Zoom.
Yeah. Free one. And a lot of people don't know that you can record a Zoom session without anybody else in it.
Oh, totally. I do it all the time.
Yeah, that's how before I didn't even know about Loom. So if I wanted to record a video, that's what I did. And then I sent one of those to someone last week, and they're like, how did you do that? Like, I was like, Zoom? And they're like, really? Like, what? So, but yeah, it's helpful. I do that for my assistant and my subcontractor, especially with new clients, pulling on new clients. You walk through your own process and then they just follow, kind of thing.
Well, and what I think it'll be good for too is when we do get back to either in-person conferences or even the video conferences, I can throw that on, have it dictate, so that, because if I'm at conferences and there's good information, I'm either not getting it down and trying to have to remember it later, but then I'm like, oh, what was said at what session? Or you're writing it down and then you're missing. So I can have this pull. I can maybe just write a quick note or two of, you know, maybe a keyword that I want to look into. If I'm like, oh, I really want to look at that, write down a keyword, you know, and pop back into the dictation to grab the keyword. So now, Jessica, how long have you been using it for then? Because I know Amy's fairly new.
I've been using it for about 3 months. But I
Okay.
mainly just use it for the videos that I record to quickly, easily get a transcript of that information. Some of the case uses that you given, I've been using either Evernote or even because I'm G Suite based, I can have my phone record and it transcribes it into a Google Doc. So I haven't felt the need to switch over and use my free minutes from Otter.ai. So I'm reserving the free minutes for the video transcripts.
But the Google Doc doesn't do punctuation
Right.
and capitalization and grammar.
Oh,
I find that if I slow down enough, it does.
Oh,
But
does
most
it?
of the
Okay.
time, I tend to do Evernote. It really depends on which icon is closer, which app I remember exists at the time.
Right, right. I didn't
But I
realize
do
Evernote
love
did that because I use
for
Evernote.
my YouTube videos and Zoom meetings.
Right. Okay. And that's good because I didn't know that about Evernote because I'm real big on if we can use the free versions, use the free versions, right? So, and that's good to know if Evernote has that they've got the free version. I know that, yeah, Google Docs did it, but I found there was too much editing afterwards, but I talk fast, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, it does depend on that. And I find some apps do better with accents than others. So you have to consider that as well.
Yeah.
We started, like, I was talking to someone last week and we started talking about goals, and then I like wasn't in the mood, and then one or two things started happening, and next thing you know, I'm like firing like all these inspirational things and things I want to do, and I'm like, you know, maybe 5 years down the road, but if we ended that conversation and I didn't write it down, I was going to forget. So I like instantly went into Otter.ai and just hit record and put our conversation on speaker, and we just started talking about it. So it was like, and now I could like, hey, give that to my assistant and be like, can you like maybe set some of these goals out as task deadlines for me? Like by the end of September, I want this done. So what do I need to do to break that out? And it's been helpful because I don't know, I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, like probably all of us do, with just random thoughts. And you're like, you can't see, you can't type, you're just like, you know, you gotta do something.
Well, that's exactly what I do right now is I will email myself something, but you're right. I've gone in the morning, I've looked and said, what the heck was I trying to type here? Because I'm like, all like, you know, too tired and whatever, can't see what I'm typing. But this is where this is, I think, going to be good because yes, I've traditionally tried to, you know, talk into my phone and use the voice notes, but then I forget to go in there and pull them out until all of a sudden too much later. But at least if this is something I now have this opening on my one screen, I've got 17 hats in QBO that opens. On my other screen, I have ClickUp and Otter now that open automatically. So I see it every single day because I'm now using it every single day.
Should I even ask what ClickUp is? This is why I love you guys because I've been out of the game a bit. I've just been in the coaching world. So there's been different apps. So
sure, we can do that, but now that Bianca's back, let's let her introduce herself first.
Yeah, hi Bianca.
Oh, yay.
Yes. So, and the question today, Bianca, and you're muted too. So the question was, when this is all over and it's safe to travel, where's the first place that you would like to travel to?
Oh, well, we had to cancel a big trip to Germany. So I'm probably going to say I just about reestablished that big plan that I had in place. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And did you want to introduce yourself too?
Yes, my name is Bianca Mueller, Books by Bianca. I'm located in Burnaby, British Columbia, and I primarily use Sage Business Cloud Accounting.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, we didn't want to, because you left when it was your turn. So we're like, okay, we'll talk until you come back.
I had CRA called for a GST inquiry on a client, so I had to grab. Yes. That's why I'm just emailing myself the information right now so I don't forget. She said just get back to her on Monday.
Otter.ai for. That's what we were just talking about. Otter.ai to transcribe.
You know who told me originally about what? That was Scott Zannenberg when he was with QuickBooks, and he was, you know, all going all over the map and going to stuff. And he's like, I can't remember things. I hate taking notes. He's like, I just turn it on my phone and it records the whole webinar and then it transcribes it for me. I'm like, oh. So I remember downloading it, but then I never had a reason to use it. So
well, that's, Amy told me about it on Sunday. I've already paid for the paid version. I've gone down the hole. I told Sherry about it. I called her Monday morning because Sherry Lee Mathers is usually calling me with text. So I got all excited and I'm like, because she's always on me using Google Docs to record. Tanya, don't type it, record it. But I'm like, oh, then I have to go back and edit it. So I was so excited to call her. And she's like, it sounds familiar. So I showed her a little bit of what Amy showed me, what I retained and what I learned so far. And then I'm like, okay. And she goes to sign up and she laughs. She's like, I'm already signed up. So she did the same thing. She signed up.
I know she commented on Scott's post originally, and this was like a year ago. And I remember we were communicating, and I remember her saying that she was going to download it then. So I'm not surprised she forgot.
I just messaged 2 people like, oh my gosh, have you ever heard of Otter.ai? Mind blown.
Right? Yeah.
And you know what? If I hadn't have seen, that's not what we were going to talk about today. We were going to talk about SIFT. So if Amy hadn't have shown up, because we were just talking about it with a few of them on the call in the boot camp call earlier, I would not have been like said the connection, and we wouldn't have started talking. So yeah, it's definitely been valuable.
Meredith, so we can get moving on. I'll send you a message and we can connect, and I'll tell you and show you about ClickUp.
Can you please transcribe that message over Otter.ai and then I'll respond.
If you would like me to.
I'm just teasing. But yeah, that sounds good.
I mean, ClickUp is awesome. We've been using it too. And maybe one of these days, you know, people want us to talk about ClickUp on here too, right? So yeah, because ClickUp's really, really sweet. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a big fan of my QBOA work tab. Yeah, ClickUp's replacing that.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting to know.
Yeah, I've never used the work tab. I'm a little bit behind in a few things.
ClickUp is really awesome, and like we should do something on it like later, but because it can really, if you set it up properly, you could use it as a full-on CRM, onboarding, everything. It takes time to set it up. It would take a lot of time, but you could literally replace everything.
Well, are you available next Friday, Amy? Because you and I both use ClickUp.
I do. I'm just getting started on it, so I wouldn't really be able to do very much.
I'm 3 weeks into it.
I've been using ClickUp for a while, not for my bookkeeping, but for almost everything else. A lot of consulting projects that I do and personal projects. And I had somebody set it up for me. So I've learned a lot. I've broken things and I fixed them. I still don't master it.
Like I have hired an online business manager to help me set it up over 6 months, like going through all of the different things that I do, because I use it for all aspects of my business, not only the task management for clients, but like, you know, running my social media with my assistants, running the interior tasks in the business. It's like runs everything. And eventually it will have like forms and stuff where I can do client intake through there, and it just transfers right in. We're working on setting it up. It will take some time. I'm fine with that though, because this is the first thing in 2 years that I haven't wanted to move away from in less than a month. Everything, and I know you've got to give everything a chance, but like everything has just thrown me so hard that I was like, I can't even give this a chance. With ClickUp, it was just, I felt, okay, I can give this a chance. Even though I'm not totally there, it felt like I could still keep rolling every single day. Like I was able to get myself on track.
So it might replace, like I'm using Asana to communicate with just a few of my clients.
It would replace Asana.
Okay.
So there's a free version. There's a paid version. We committed to the paid version just simply because we wanted more space, and then there was something recurring in calendars. But there is still a free version, which is great. But what I'm finding that the purpose is, and where it's really helping us, it's actually in a mental aspect as well too, because it's to get to inbox zero. So we now, if something comes into our email, if we're not dealing with it right away, we forward it into ClickUp to do a task, so that way we don't see it. It's not due. So the data is stored. It's in there. It's in ClickUp. I haven't looked, Kathy, at like what server, you know, Canada, US. Of course, that's a Kathy question, and I'll look it up shortly to be able to give Kathy an answer. Very big on the data that's stored. But right now we're just basically putting, you know, we're not putting anything that is really confidential in there. Again, it's a quick, like it's an email, forwarding the email in, you know, again, attaching, you know, a brief document or two, certainly nothing confidential. It's, you know, it's our to-do tasks, our repeating tasks, but you can, the way that you can set it up, and it does take a lot of time with the setup because there's probably 20 different ways to set it up to get the same result. So it thinks different for different people. And the important part about the setup is you don't want to put a whole bunch of time and then realize, oh my gosh, this way works better for me. So I think it's important with the setup to find the way that works for you best, then set it up. You can then copy and paste. So if you copy from like in Bootcamp, we have got all of the workflows and stuff that we share are all in point by point. And if people want to take it and put it into QBOA or into Asana, you have to copy line by line by line by line and set it up like that. Here, you copy the whole thing, put it in, it'll say, oh, there's 25 bullet points. Do you want these as separate tasks or separate steps? You say yes. Boom, it's done. It's done. Like, it's beautiful. And then, so apparently you've already signed up for it before, Meredith. That's funny.
Yeah, apparently I loved it.
So, but then what you do is you can focus just on your inbox that day. And then when that's done, there's actually confetti that comes. It's like, woohoo, you've reached inbox 0. So
I like
even
that.
though you're really doing the same amount of tasks that you are before, mentally, it makes you feel like you're actually getting more stuff done. And you're actually
Yeah, I was just working, like I've been using 17 hats again. Tanya, thanks for encouraging me to.
And I'm
look at
still
that.
using 17 hats. It's not
So-
replacing 17 hats portion.
Yeah, so I've been using the tasks for that.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's not
They're
as
not good. And for that, not my
No.
opinion. I know by
No.
Jessica, she's a big 17 hats user. My opinion is that 17 hats is great for the communication, the automated of the again, the contracts, the questionnaires, the quotes and the automatic emails, but not so much for the to-do list.
No, I'm not feeling it.
Yes, I am the same way because my brain works differently. I need a different layout of how things are displayed and filtered. So I use 17 Hat as my CRM and for my automation, but my actual, what am I supposed to be doing today? It's elsewhere.
Exactly. And we're exactly the same thing.
The best part about it is you can make different dashboards. So like one thing I've been doing is I've been making like a task dashboard. So where because I have different like workspaces, like one is like my hub, like my operations, and like one's for my customer service, right? So I'll make like a dashboard for just my bookkeeping clients and my to-do list for my bookkeeping clients. And then another widget in that dashboard, that's my tax clients, where am I at? So I can kind of break things out, or I could just do what is my task for the next 6 days or the next 3 days. So you can kind of get a good idea, and you don't have to see everything, but you can also, if you're managing a team, it's helpful. It can help, it does time tracking. It can help like track that stuff in there. It does take a lot of time to set it up, like any good project management software. But I love how versatile it can be, because there is templates, but then there's also, you can just do this from your own from the very beginning and set it up however you want.
Yeah.
Is it all
and
PC based?
like at the same time is how fast they're adding features.
Oh,
Every
yeah,
Friday, there's
crazy.
something new. So later on today, I'll get the pop-up and there'll be at least 3 new features, which is great, but at the same time, it can be overwhelming.
Because you're trying to learn all of these different things. For me, I've been kind of like, I'm ignoring the new features because I have an online business manager who knows how to use ClickUp. So I'm kind of like, I need to focus on the certain tasks and the templates and these things, give them to her, and then be like, hey, this is what I want to do. And she sets those up. So she sets up the recurring or the repeating tasks and the deadlines and like, waiting for the triggers. So if I'm waiting for a client to send in an intake form, I can't actually start downloading that stuff or the tax return until after they sent it. So then my due date doesn't get triggered until after that task is completed, and setting up those things. But it's been wonderful because my assistant has been able to like go in and be like, add to her lineup. Oh, Amy, you need to do this and stuff. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And she's like, well, look at your lineup. I gave you a bunch of stuff to do. And I'm like, look at that. Like, so that's been really helpful, especially because I just brought on a subcontractor who lives an hour away from me. So I'm able to give her tasks in there, and there's a recording function in there. So like if she doesn't know how to do something, or if she gets an error, she can be like, what is this? And it's been a game changer for me, but I've also really been looking for that for the past 2 years since I started, like finding something that would help me deal with the constant, like I've always felt like I'm putting out fires, and for once I feel like I'm actually like on top of people, which is like I'm giving them info before they ask for it, like, which is holy shit, really.
And what's really good is with using it for teams as well is, so I liked QBO. It wasn't 100%. There were some workers, but I liked the QBO work. Leanne loved Asana because she loved tags, and there was different things she loved about Asana. Well, because I'm the boss, I'm like, nope, sorry, we're using here. You can keep some stuff in Asana that we have nothing to do with, but the rest of the flows are going here. This, well, the end of the day, the boss, boss gets the end of the say, right? But with ClickUp, I can have my stuff set up the way that I like. Leanne can have her stuff and her views set up the way that she likes. It's really versatile within there so that it can have, again, the same things that, for the different people, even within the teams, which is beautiful, just with the different views and your personalized dashboards.
Has anybody looked at Financial Sense?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but sounds like a blog.
Seen it, and I've seen that it's like, and the thing that's really bothered me is that I think I get 3 or 4 emails from them a week saying, can you try this out? Can you try this out? And I'm just like, hey, if I was interested, I would have looked at it because they're in a lot of our groups.
Right.
But I think it's kind of like Practice Ignition and like Jetpack on steroids put together, because it's focused towards accounting, the accounting profession.
Yeah.
But I think it's also US based.
Okay.
I think it's from the US. So the only problem I have with a lot of those is that they seem to center towards the US like tax words and things like that. And I find that, I know that a lot of our stuff is the same in the sense of bookkeeping and accounting, but at the same time, they bring in the US tax forms and sales tax and stuff. And then that starts to confuse me. And I'm like, how do I change this? So
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Can you manage ClickUp from a mobile device?
Yes, there's a Boot app.
Wonderful.
I haven't gone to the app yet.
It's awesome. And then it actually integrates with a lot of things. It has a Calendly integration. It's got a Google integration. So you can have your email coming into it instead of to your actual email. You can reply from there. The calendar, the app on your phone is really great because you can have it on there and even have hotkeys where you could be like, I just need to create a reminder or a task or something like that. But it's really, I've liked it. And I get a lot of notifications, which is really annoying, and it's my own fault for not turning them off. But at the same time, I've got a team of 3 other people that I'm like, yeah, I need to know everything they're doing, even though if I'm not doing it all, I need to at least see it. So, but the phone app is really great. I like it a lot.
And then I'm downloading it now.
Yeah. And then the next question that I have, Amy, is who is this business manager?
Yeah, her name is Angela Mondor, and I would happily share after this is done. I will happily just put her Facebook page on the bottom of this in the comments for you guys.
And that's great. Just have her on. And somebody else watching might like it too.
Can we just have her on here one day?
Absolutely. I'm sure she'd love it. I've already sent 3 people to her since our ClickUp call 2 weeks ago. And she messaged me. She's like, are you sending people my way? I'm like, of course I am.
You know what? Then see if she'd like to come on, because that would be a huge promotion to herself. Again, just give a little bit of free information and people will be like, again, I like to do it myself, but I recognize that there is so much. We are only using about 5% of the potential it's got. Right. And I recognize that.
And that's the thing with her, is that she actually understands how it works in the back end. So what she's been doing with me is I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. So she sets it up and then she does some training, or she'll set up a template and then she'll teach my assistant how to do the full setup. So that way my assistant's learning about it, and eventually I won't need her. I'll probably always keep her on call now because she's been really awesome.
Right.
It's she understands those little nuances of what to do and how that would work. So what I've been doing lately is I'm just like, hey, I want to do this. And so I'll record a little voice note and I'll send it to her. And then she'll be like, okay, well, this is how we would go about doing that. Because if I can at least break down the steps of what I want to see, she can show me how to get there. Because I don't think outside of the box very much. Like, I want this. I don't know how to get that, but this is what I want. And she's like, oh, I could totally get you there. I'm like, sweet. So, but I will definitely put her link, her Facebook page in here, and then I'll talk to her and say, I've got some people that might be interested in talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how's the online training? Like, do you find that the tutorials, is it worth the time to spend a couple hours going through the tutorials?
I will just be straight up honest. I don't watch tutorials on anything.
I do if
I
they're
can-
short per subject. I don't
So,
like.
I can speak on that because that's the way I looked into it. There is
Okay.
a bunch of stuff, and you will end up getting, because there's so many ways to get things, there's a bunch of different that will be more confusing. There is a guy named Justin, and I'll again put him in here. His are amazing. They are point break, they are broken down, and it says if you actually want to reach out to him, he does consultation. Then you reach out to him. He actually doesn't do them anymore because ClickUp hired him directly. So
Yeah.
I'll post
Good for
his
him.
stuff too if you want to take a look at his tutorials. But I found, again, Sherry Lee Mathers found his, and we found them the best because, again, there's so many different ways. Now, that was the best for me because I could understand it. It might not mean that the way he's explaining it might not be the best for you, but Sherry and I look at things very differently, and both of us liked the way he explained things.
I
And
have a
he's-
feeling if you like it, I'll like it. I think you and I have kind of operate
so.
the same.
I think so. So now, before I forget too, I've looked up for Kathy. I don't know if this will be very satisfactory to you. It's HIPAA approved, SOC2, Privacy Shield Framework, the Data General Protection Regulation. It does all of that, but it's basically on Amazon Web Services. So with what I can see here on their website, it's clickup.com/security. It looks like it's probably a US server. With Amazon Web Services.
It is a US server for sure.
Okay.
It was a US based company. It wasn't until like just a few months ago that it was like starting to be available fully in Canada, and they don't even have ClickUp consultants. Angela was the only ClickUp consultant in Canada that I could find.
Oh, wow.
And on the website, it said US because they hadn't even spread it so far. Because like I went to her specifically because she was Canadian.
Right.
Like, I love my US friends. I have no issues with any US people at all. Jessica, I'm looking at you. Love you lots. But like I said, some of these programs, when they're focused towards US, I feel like they're just not, I don't think about them in the same way, and I can't grasp them. So I find that working with a US like mentor or someone helping me in that way, they're not always understanding of our Canadian laws or tax laws or anything else. Yeah. So I specifically sought her out because she was the only Canadian one. And then I really liked her. You know, she's funny. Her name is like, her page is called Geeky Girl. So I was like, yeah, we'll be friends. You know?
Well, and it's funny with all the referrals, like you would think that with what we do that was traditionally such a reclusive job.
Yeah.
Look at how much we're networking. Look at how much we learn off each other, and all of these referrals that she's getting in this business she's getting because, you know, somebody who was in, you know, an exclusive independent job has, you know, which is hilarious because it's like, no, we don't work alone anymore. Not really.
We really don't, especially like, I don't know. I was talking to my husband about that actually. I'm like, yeah, well, he's like, well, you don't see anybody. I'm like, yeah, but I talk to at least 3 colleagues every day. Every day. I'll need to talk to someone, whether it's to vent about somebody or just to run an idea by them or to cry. Like, I don't know, but I'm going to talk to someone. So, but anyway.
Well, especially Fridays, I see 3 faces and one that's a black screen, you know, just with her name that I have probably spent almost 4 hours with today. That's Fridays. No work gets done on Fridays. So, no, well, that's awesome. So we didn't get to talk about SIFT because I was 4:30. So we can talk about SIFT next time. Because yeah, Jessica uses SIFT. I use SIFT. We were kind of good doing a comparison because we had PayPi, which is now the new Schmancha, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and I hope I'm not butchering the name. So we were just going to talk about, you know, SIFT because Jessica, myself, and I think somebody else on here had said they were starting to use SIFT. So we were going to talk about that. So we can pick that up next week.
I have one quick question. When I get a moment.
That's okay. You can. I'm not going to cut us off yet.
Oh, okay.
We've gone till 5 o'clock some days. Well, I guess people are.
I just made a nail appointment, so I don't have that much time.
Your nails are beautiful though. Like, look at them.
Yeah, but they're growing out. It's time to redo.
Are they? They don't look like they're growing up from this end anyway.
Well, they are, and I want to go get a nice massage and pedicure, manicure, and
Get
it's
spoiled.
becoming a Friday, every other Friday ritual for me, and
Nice.
I have to charge enough so I can afford it.
There you go.
Right.
Or to get spoiled every second Friday, like, you know, that's something to work for.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm trying to export a chart of accounts out of a client's file into an Excel file so I can fix it and then put it back in. Is there a way to do that? It seems I can only do it to print or PDF.
And who are you? It's QBO?
QBO, yeah.
That's weird. Because I've exported to Excel before.
And I think there is. Let me just pull out my QBO right now. And I think there is a way. I think there's just a little trick to it.
Okay, because
I think. Yeah.
Carol, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go for a pedicure date soon.
okay, hang on, they're calling me back just a sec.
I'll come. I'll
That's no
come.
problem.
Carol,
She's
can I help you?
You'll have to make a weekend of it.
You know, I kind of laugh at myself. I get my nails done once a month too. It's
I don't do nails. I type all day.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
So do I.
cheap, so I don't. I
Oh.
do my own nails.
And I
but
garden
I'm
way
not
too
nice.
much.
Oh, yeah, I don't garden.
Sorry, now I have to go at 2:30. They had to change my appointment so I could get my manicure and pedicure. Sorry.
Okay, so I couldn't find, you're right. It used to be here. I swear to God, it used to be.
I
here.
swear to God it was.
I'm
So
gonna
the
go
only
look.
thing I would suggest is export it. Then there's a ton that are free online if you don't have anything. I've got one if you want to send it over to me, one of those ones that will take from a CSV or, you know, and put it into Excel or PDF and put it into Excel. So you could do that.
Send it to my friend Lynn.
The latest
go.
versions of
Or
Excel
they-
will actually do it from the PDF directly.
What's that?
The latest versions of Excel will convert from a PDF directly.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh.
New feature.
Well, I have Excel 365, so this
So
is
you
new
have
yeah.
the latest version.
Did not know that. I love you guys so much.
Wow, I'm gonna have to try that, Kathy. If not, guess who's getting a phone call later?
Oh, and Jessica's gone. Yeah. Oh, she had to run. I would say she's usually off like bang almost like minutes after 4:30. So
Oh yeah, who wants to hang around after 4:30?
yeah. Well, she's very, very good with her times. And you know, has
blocks
to
it
try to
off.
keep that balance with you know, her personal to business life. So
My
yeah.
Fridays are now blown off with spending the whole day with you guys
Right?
and a pedicure.
My
Awesome.
Fridays are
You
my
know,
flex day, always.
Now you need to
What's
charge
that,
even
Bianca?
more to be able to afford not working on Fridays, plus the pedicures on Fridays, right?
My Fridays are flex days. So if a client has heavier needs one week or whatever, there's something going on because there's variables in all of our weeks, then that's the Friday. And if there's nothing to fill in or nothing that I can't do the next week, it's always my flex day. So I always do this, do a me thing, do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming that because everything else is just
Well, and I think it helps you
making my
start
mind go crazy.
Like, I mean, and Jessica and told me at one point when she was on here is she used to feel her Fridays, she would leave the office and it would take her hours to wind down. So now, even just coming on this last hour of her day, she puts it in as networking time. So she's still working, but she's able to, you know, get herself into a different mind frame that when she leaves at 4:30, she's boom. She is already totally in, you know, yep, I'm in Friday mode. I'm in personal mode. Whereas it used to take her again a few hours to get to that. So it's good mentally for you too.
I'd rather put in a couple extra hours in my week to have my Fridays off.
There you go.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
generally tell clients that I'm not available on Fridays at all. Like
Me
I
too.
said, the office is open, but we use those days for working days and for other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. We've got clients booked off. We only take client calls until 12 on Friday. And then that way it gives the afternoons to again get caught up if the girls book on any of these calls. Or even if, you know, let's say they want to hit summers and just, you know, start, you know, again, work flex days and, you know, take off early every Friday. you know, and it affords to be able to do that. And if we don't, well, then again, they can be, you know, just getting work done. So, but it's good to have that expectation for clients, and our calendars are booked off. So we'll take calls until noon, but the calendars are booked off. The only people that sneak in are boot campers sneak in on Fridays, and that's it. Yeah. So
it took me 3 years to get to the point after, like 3 years ago, I quit my government job. It's taken me 3 years to finally be able to say to customers or clients or anybody, I don't work on Friday. 3 years it took me.
wow.
I have a
I
lot.
just say I'm booked. Friday is my work on my business day. So, and I can see emails coming through from certain clients that expect me to answer that within a lickety split. And it's like,
No.
No emergencies in bookkeeping.
Yeah, that would be a really good call too. And I coach a lot of people around this, and probably you guys do too, around just setting boundaries and expectations in that contract from the beginning, and don't make any exceptions whatsoever. Like I won't talk about
this is my friend Lynn.
All right. Bye. All right. Everybody's starting to leave. We've gone over, but we started late. So, you know, if anybody's got any last things they would like to say, you say it now.
Actually, I do have a quick question on CPB if you have a sec.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you know what? Why don't I just call you? I'll hang up and I'll call you, because then I'll stop recording.
Very good.
Okay. You had something?
Yeah, I was going to say, I have found that geeky girl. Find out she is in Manitoba.
Yeah, she's in Winnipeg.
Score one for Center Canada here.
I didn't know
for Stacy's in Winnipeg. So
yeah.
Stay
So
from Winnipeg. I might actually visit there one day.
there, I got a spot. I got a couch you could stay on.
I'm a 5-star. Forget it. Sorry.
all right. Well, we will call it quits. So thank you again, David. This is your first, I guess, unofficial or your first official joining us. You've been on us here once before, but that was for a specific topic.
Welcome, David.
Welcome. Amy, again, thank you for joining us, and welcome. And yeah, talk to Geeky Girl and see if she's like interested in coming on and chatting for a few minutes about this. She gets a chance to promote herself and promote her stuff, and yeah, that'd be awesome.
Your honorary member, this is Seamus.
Oh, yes. I have seen Seamus lots. Seamus was cuddled up on the couch for you for lots of our boot camp calls.
Yes, he does. I'll post the link to Angela's.
Here's my fuzz
in the chat here. Yeah.
Look at,
oh my gosh!
Tell the difference.
You. Where are my cats? No, I'm just joking. I'll do that next time.
The other day, you can't tell the difference anymore. I am like my puppy.
Take care, everyone.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Thanks, Tanya. If you can give me a call, that'd be great.
Yep. Okay. Call you in a minute. Thanks. Bye.